I belong to you.
I belong to
You do just what you want. You're the one I trust. And I always be wrong when I need some loving, baby. No one else.
Put you down. All my melodies,
Hey guys, I'm Sai and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of the Andy Campbell Championship Show. This is episode number 125. The show is available live on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Ace Podcast Nation, of course, your home to many other great shows and series featuring top guests, expert analysts and more. So please do give us a follow on social media, subscribe to that YouTube channel, click the bell for notifications, and of course, you can follow Just the Football Stuff at AC Footy Show on all social media platforms. If you prefer your podcast series in audio format, you can search Ace Podcast Nation at your favorite podcast or radio platform, and you'll find over 400 shows on various subjects. But just as we do wait for those various platforms to fill up just a little bit for the latecomers, the stragglers, as it were, a big thank you to Black Diamond Sports as ever. Black Diamond Sports is a global sports agency representing sports stars from around the world. For more information, you can visit their social media pages. You can find the links to the description to that in the description, and of course, you can visit their website. Links to both of those are in the closing credits also. But a big thank you to Darren Ralston and of course Bespoke Financial for sponsoring the show. Darren Ralston of Bespoke Financial giving away a free will with £140 with all new policies taken out. Please check him out, give him a call, and don't miss out on what is an incredible offer. He's looked after Andy for various policies, over many years, including the critical illness and injury cover. They are truly top of their field, provide award-winning service, and we're very proud to partner with such a top-class brand. So get involved, give them a call, see if they've got something for you. And we'll hear a little bit more from them. But in the meantime, let's meet the man, the legend, the myth, the goal collector, the fox in the box, the speed demon. He is ex-Cardiff City and Middlesbrough striker. And I forgot to say on Monday, but I will not forget to say today, he is also David Jones' favourite son. Mr. Andy Campbell, how are you, mate?
Good evening. Yeah, it's funny, you know. I'm reading the comments while you're talking there, and Geraint asked if, because obviously it's my 2-week cycle, if Frankie's asleep, and as you can see, the answer's no. She will be by the end of the show. But no, it's listen, it's been a strange week. International football's come back again. I had my COVID jab, which
I've had my second one this week as well.
Did you? Well, congrats. I've joined the bandwagon of people who've got that done. So yeah, interested in just looking forward now instead of looking backwards. Time to look forward again, I think.
Absolutely, mate. I've recorded about 65 billion podcasts this week.
You've had a busy week, haven't you?
Been busy, but some incredible shows coming. It's going to be phenomenal, mate. And on that note, we have a special guest joining us on Monday evening. ex-Wales, Cardiff City midfielder, Mr. David Giles is joining us, which I'm really looking forward to. Are you looking forward to that, mate?
Oh, listen, I can't wait. The history of Cardiff City's massive, and Giles played a huge part in that. You know what I mean? Reputation-wise, how he holds himself, the reputation he's got with supporters, and the things he does for the football club itself. You know what I mean? After dinner speaking, and the things he does at the football club. He's very opinionated, which I like. You know what I mean? He'll tell us how it is, good and the bad. It's been a difficult season, so I'm sure he'll be honest about that. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Digging deep into how football's evolved over the years, how it's changed for him, how he sees football nowadays. I love it really, because it's football's evolved so much. So it's changed since I played, so never mind since obviously some of the guests that we've had and going to have.
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to it, mate. Obviously he's played for Palace and them over the other side, and a few other clubs along the way. He had a great career, played for Wales, of course, as well. But I'm really looking forward to it. Like, I always used to enjoy him when he was a pundit on some of the Welsh games, and he was on back in the day, like HTV Welsh Football Night or something on a Wednesday. But he was always like all those pundits which we've talked about recently, whereby we enjoy them because they give an opinion rather than sitting on the fence and kind of they don't want to upset people. He never did that. Like, he was always sort of, he'd just say what he thought.
I think that's old school commentary, old school journalism. You know what I mean? And I like that, mate. For me, honesty is the best policy. If something's not working, there's no point in building up to be something it's not. You know what I mean? If something's not working, like things haven't worked this season at times, you've got to be honest and say it. You know. So for me, it is what it is. It's just a good bit of journalism. You know what I mean? You're stating your opinion, and your opinion is the right one.
Spot on, mate. Couple of comments I just want to sort. Leslie says, "Man up, you don't need the jabs." I have to have my jabs because I haven't got an immune system because of my Crohn's disease. So, I got to suck it up. And you're a teacher, so I suppose you've got to have them as well. So, everyone's different position, isn't they? Donna says she loves the fact that no championship games this week because we can live in the Swansea winning feeling that little bit longer. And you know what else it means? It means we get to talk about the games for a little bit longer because we've only got one game to talk about, which is purely coincidence, but I love it. Zlatan made his return this week, which we'll talk about a little bit in a minute. But let's start the show. We haven't had this for a little while, mate, but let's play it and let's do some any other business. Any other business. Right then, let's get ready to rumble. So I've picked all of these, which is unusual because we normally split. But I was greedy this week. So the first one kind of fits in because we were just talking about the vaccinations and stuff. The Lazio president has been fined for breaking COVID regulations, which is bizarre, and I find it a bit remarkable, because Lazio is not a small club, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's not like a Serie B or C club, sort of scratching around for cash and whatnot. They've been fined €150 or 128 grand, which I'm not sure how much of a deterrent that is. But the president has been banned for 7 months. I'm not sure what a ban for a president entails. Maybe he's not allowed to go to games, or he's not allowed to be at the club on match day. I'm not sure. But interestingly, 2 of the club doctors have been suspended for 12 months as well, which that is the one which kind of ooh, you know what I mean? There's
it's dangerous, sign. It's dangerous.
A little bit of background, mate, quickly before I get your take on it. The club's training ground was inspected. Swab test results were taken away in November last year during the investigation against potential violations. The FIGC brought charges in February, referred the matter to the National Federal Court, which handed down the punishments. Lazio were charged with lack of observation of the health protocols in force. They did deny any wrongdoing and said in a statement they trust in sporting justice. It's one of them, isn't it, mate? Whether you agree or you disagree, once there's rules in place, particularly when it comes to health conditions and health, like a global pandemic, you've got to just suck it up and do what you're told, haven't you?
Oh, listen, Si, it's very dangerous, you know what I mean? Especially what was going on, especially how dangerous things were in Italy at the time. You know what I mean? Italy was rife. Italy was one of the worst countries. They were having a pure lockdown. So to football to still be carrying on at that time and being able to come out the other side, they were really privileged. You know what I mean? We were hard on Celtic and hard on Aberdeen about when they brought the COVID rules. But this is messed about potentially with people's lives, because apparently 8 players tested positive and they hid it away so they could play a Champions League game. Listen, the game would have got cancelled anyway. If they're just being honest and told the truth, the game would have got cancelled. Health's bigger than football, so the game would have got cancelled. You didn't have to hide it, so that surely. And if FIFA made them play the game, then everyone would have been on Lazio's side. So Lazio didn't
It's
need
not
to do what
good
they've
luck,
done.
is it?
No, it's not. And to be honest, when 3 people have been suspended, whose decision was it to break the rule? The doctors must have found out about it first. They must have then gone to the owners. They must have gone to the manager. They must have gone to somebody, and then all of a sudden, someone's made that decision to keep it quiet and not tell authorities, which is, it's not right. It's, you know what I mean. What that you just said there, Si, for me, what's $150,000, euros, whatever it is, for an owner who's probably worth billions? Is it going to affect him? He's still going to watch all the games. He's still going to be able to run the company from wherever he is. It's not really much of a deterrent for me.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Next bit of thing I want to talk about very quickly is Thierry Henry has removed himself from all social media until the heads of said social media companies deal with racism, online trolling, bullying, etc. And I said to you just before the show, I believe that he won't be the last A-lister, if you like, for lack of a better term, who's going to do this, particularly from the sporting world, because they seem to get it as bad as anyone. And I think it's going to create it's good because it's going to back the heads or the boards of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. into a corner whereby if you've got all these people who, for instance, Ronaldo's got like 1 billion social media followers. If he does it and says, I will not use any social media, and he sticks to it, they got a problem, because these are the guys which bring in the sponsorships for these social media companies, and they'll be forced to deal with it. Should they deal with it anyway? Of course they should. But it's interesting because I don't think he's going to be the last to do it, mate, is he?
No, he shouldn't do. But I think it should have been for Thierry to do it on his own. And I'm not saying he's doing it on his own, just one person. But to front it is great. But front it in a way that everyone follows suit straight away. You just said it there about the big hitters, the Ronaldos, the people who've got the millions and millions and millions of followers. If you get 1,000 people, you know what I mean? Thierry Henry's closest 1,000 people on his Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever that is, and hit all the big followers and just say what you're going to do, even if for a month, because that month would hit Instagram massive, it would hit Facebook massive, it would hit Twitter, it would hit everybody, and this has got to be done. I'm not sure what one person can do. You know what I mean? Everyone's got to follow suit, because you know when we did when they were going on one knee, Black Lives Matter, everybody did it, and it made a stand straight away because everyone did it. You know what I mean? One person didn't just do it, and everyone followed suit straight after. Everybody did it, and for me, for this to work, everyone's got to do it straight away.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I completely agree, and I'd be interested. Ronaldo's the one. He's if he does it, I think he creates the biggest sort of statement. But just because he's got so many followers, he's got more followers than most.
Yeah,
I think there's only one. I think he's got the most followers in the world, and then Justin Bieber's second. So, like, if you put that in context, Ronaldo, the footballer, has got more followers than Justin Bieber. It shows how ridiculous
it's crazy,
it is.
It's crazy, but the side that they have that much power as well, you know that. But they need to use it. Need to use that authority. Need to use that power and help people out, because there's people, Ronaldo's teammates, Ronaldo's friends. You know what I mean? They're getting punished day in, day out. You know what I mean? His ex-teammates at United. There's been quite a few young lads who've been racially abused on Instagram, and it's time to make a stand, because certain things aren't working. You see, for me, the Black Lives Matter, the knee, the standing, it's all over the place at the minute. Everybody's choosing to do different things, and I think it's a little bit all over the place, and people are having to explain why they're not doing it anymore, and I don't feel comfortable with people explaining it because it's not for someone to say we're backing one of our teammates. If they're not doing it, they're not doing it. They're not doing it because it's not making an impact anymore. The impact's gone.
Yeah, 100%. Just before I move on to the last one, which is more about the home nations international results, I want to ask you a question about something which I noticed about an hour ago. West Ham's Jared Bowen has apologised for an historical tweet and is being investigated by the FA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on the just from the headline, you think, all right, fair enough. This tweet was from 2012, and at the time, Jared Bowen was 15.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, that is ridiculous. That you're like, so they're so desperate to kind of punish people for mistakes. And look, like, I get it if he said something which is, unacceptable, etc. But 15-year-old kids say stuff which is unacceptable. They say stuff to get a reaction. They say stuff because they don't understand the ramifications of it. They're not mature enough to understand it. Like, how far back do you go in someone's life? Do you know what I mean? I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand it at all. There's nothing to be gained from it. He's apologised. Move on.
I had this conversation with somebody today, and I was I've not seen the tweet because for me it's irrelevant. I'm not saying what he's wrote wrong or right. I'm not backing what he's saying. I've not seen it. But my point,
I don't know what it says either.
My point of all this is, he signed to be a professional footballer at Hull City. Nobody saw a problem in that tweet when he was playing for Hull City in the Championship. He then signed for West Ham United. He's been there over a year, 18 months maybe. Nobody saw a problem in it then. You know what I mean? So why now? Why is somebody picking it up now? Because he's doing well? Because he's being talked about playing for England? Because he's now making a name for himself? Someone's trying to cause problems? I obviously blame the boy for sending it. I blame probably parents for not taking it off. I blame Hull City for not going through his Twitter and taking it off for him and telling him to take it off and take it down. I blame West Ham for not doing the same. I blame his agent and his representatives for not doing the same and looking after him because they've put him now in a position which he doesn't need to be in. He's under more pressure. He's under pressure to perform with this hanging over him. There's so many people who could have helped him out. He's done something which he thought was funny or right at the time. It obviously backfiring now. How many years down the line? It's not, but it's something which. Do we need to make a big thing of it? Because he's 15 years old. You know what I mean? Just for me, he made a mistake. You know what I mean? You tell him there's got to be a way to learn. You know what I mean? And finding somebody for me he's not learning. Give him a course in social media and how to act on social media. That would teach him. That would teach these young players more than anything.
He's 24 now, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point in? With all due respect, like I almost think even sending him on a course now is pointless because he's not going to be the same person he was when he was 15. Like, I didn't even know what was said. So that's the other thing, to be clear. Like, I don't know what the tweet was, but like you said, the subject is doesn't really make a difference to me. Like, it was obviously something which wasn't appropriate and he shouldn't have said it. And if he had done it now, then of course he should be punished accordingly. But I just think, like, I agree with what you said, by the way. His agent, his clubs, they got to look after him, and they've got to help him.
I've just read what he put.
Okay.
So he used a racial word, and he used the N word. Yeah, and I'm not condoning what he's done. I'm not saying it's right, it's wrong. It's massively wrong what he's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
But why? Why didn't somebody pick this up at 16 when he signed for Hull City, and then he could have been educated in the right way?
Yes, and that would have been then when you send him on a course.
Yeah,
and you educate him.
Yeah,
but there's no point in doing that now, is there?
No. I totally agree. But this is for me, Sam. This is another thing where football clubs need to help and educate their young players because
absolutely,
you know what I mean. That if they're going to do their own social media. Yes, some won't. Some will get companies to do it. Some will get their representatives to do it. If you're wanting to do your own and you enjoy doing your own because you're on social media all the time, then educate them in how to not get themselves into trouble.
Yeah. Joe Hart doesn't do his own. Did you see that?
No, I didn't know that.
After the Tottenham game, whenever it was the last round of European games, the Europa League game, I think Tottenham lost, didn't they? And he put like an Instagram story up or something saying "job done" or something like that, and it turned out that obviously Spurs had lost an aggregate or whatever, and or I don't know, they'd lost the game, and is whoever was doing his social media had obviously done it in advance or had timed it. I don't. It just looked a bit silly. Rob Boyle just put something in the chat. He said, "Did you see that a player who allegedly racially abused a Rangers player is not being released by his club to play against Wales on Tuesday?" I didn't see that, so I can't really comment on it. But
I saw it. Yeah, so I saw it. I watched the game. He went up to Kamara and he called him a not very nice word, racial word, and in his ear. And then there was hell broke loose. Kamara ended up getting sent off. I think he got a second yellow for his reaction and trying to assault him, attack him, which is obviously understandable in sort of. I'm not condoning violence, by the way, but
yeah, that reaction is going to happen.
That's not for me. This is where the people need to get involved. So you can't hide behind it. If he's done it and he's been found guilty, then throw the book at him.
Yeah.
Absolutely, ban him for 2 years. He's not allowed to earn a penny. There's got to be something. There's
UEFA and FIFA don't give a two hoots, mate. Which takes us nicely into the internationals for this week. First and foremost, Germany players wore T-shirts in protest against Qatar's human right record, which in their win over Iceland on Thursday. Now this I find this fascinating, mate, where this is going to go, because in terms of international football, Germany, Brazil, Argentina, they're the top dogs. They're the biggest countries in the world in football. In terms, they're the ones who are kind of most successful over history and all this sort of thing. So, how far are they going to take this protest? Are they not going to play in Qatar? Is putting FIFA in this uncomfortable position, which is something I love to see because they are so corrupt and horrible. But what did you make of it? Because it's fascinating.
I think it's, for me, it's similar to what I've just been talking about there with Thierry Henry, that if people are going to back it and people believe in it and people believe that they can make a difference, then why don't the German FA speak to the Argentinian FA and the English FA and all the teams who are potentially going to make the World Cup, and everyone makes a stand at the same time, because it came out of the blue. So, you know what I mean? I think it was a really good stance, but 5 teams are better than 1, and they can make a stronger voice because it goes around the world and it goes viral straight away. You know what I mean? I just don't know what difference one team can make a difference, and how much difference they can make. For me, you know what I mean? Did they want to be the first team to do it, so everyone else jumps on the bandwagon, carries and follows it through, which is great to be the first team to do it. But if you initiate it, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Get others to follow suit, and you would get a louder noise, and it would create a bigger mess for FIFA and for UEFA to take note and start action in it, because that's what you need to do.
Yeah, just reading the article, it seems Norway did the same against Gibraltar on Wednesday. So I don't know whether that was something that was organised between the two, or whether they just coincidentally decided. There's so much controversy around it, that World Cup, because like everyone didn't expect them to win the bid, and there was other countries who seemed a bit more appropriate or better bids and whatnot. And then when you rope in all the construction workers who've been injured or died, and the way they're treated, they're forced to work, their passports taken off them, and live in squalor while they're out there, and it's just a horrific situation. And they're building 7 new stadiums to stage the tournament. They've brought in like thousands of workers from other countries, and you can only imagine how they're living and being treated. And I just, until FIFA, so there is some sort of statement from FIFA, because there was a letter from a human rights organization to FIFA, the FIFA president, Infantino, and he said that the FIFA need urgent and concrete action is needed into Qatar and the ongoing human rights violations. So it's going to be really, and that was from they've got several partners, including Amnesty International. So
I think this goes back.
This isn't going to go away,
further.
mate.
No, but it goes back further as well, though, side, because you know what I mean. You can go back to how Qatar got the World Cup. You know what I mean, with the voting system and how the votes went. You know what I mean. That wasn't exactly. But then this is the same thing. This is the same thing. But then now they've got it. They're trying to save themselves money, and they're trying to go down a cheaper route, which is going to backfire anyway, because they're going to end up having to spend X amount of money. They're going to get fined, which is going to, you know what I mean, there's going to be overheads. There's going to be loads of people watching every move that Qatar make in that country moving forward. So it's going to be a mess. You know what I mean? Because they haven't got long until the World Cup's going to be on anyway.
Gang says once it was proved that they won the bid by default, it should have been taken away from them there and then. I would be very interested. So in one word, and do you think the World Cup in Qatar goes ahead as planned? Regardless of what time of year and stuff, do you just think it happens?
I can't see. I can't see them changing it. No, I think now.
People are too stubborn, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're too stubborn, and I don't see another plan getting put in place very quickly. So the whole qualifiers would be null and void. Be a disgrace. Be a nightmare.
Sorry to interrupt you, man.
That's all right.
The main reason I think they will not go ahead with it, they will go ahead with it, sorry, is FIFA don't see the problem. They don't understand the problem. Same with racism. They don't think it's a problem, so they don't deal with it. They give out proxy fines and they don't care. Because they don't see it as a problem. They see it as just that's just the way it is. Now, I'm not one to promote my shows, as you know, but on Sunday, my story with Harry Harris is dropping 8:00. And I tell you what an interesting story the guy's got. It's amazing. Interviewed Pele, Maradona, all these incredible stories, and he's really good. But he's got a new book out called Show Racism, The Red Card, which features an interview with a high-ranking FA official. And he said in the show, which just drops on Sunday, and he tells the story. But basically, UEFA official told a high-ranking FA official, I didn't want to say it on this show because it's so offensive, but basically he made remarks about Hitler and the Jews, and this FA official was Jewish, and he knew it, and it honestly, mate, it's horrific. Harry tells the story a lot better than that, but it's and that is from a UEFA official, not in private, at just like a meeting and which is organised, and they're so open about that. So of course they don't give two hoots about.
Yeah, they don't care, do they? No.
Right.
Why would they? Why would they care about commenting if they don't have any integrity themselves about comments what are made about within? That's just
spot on, mate. Just very quickly before we move on to the Home Nation games, mate. Reece just put this in the comments. Just seen now, side Dover, who have had to cancel their season due to the fact they wouldn't be able to afford to continue. They've been given a fine and a 12-point deduction for next season. Absolute shambles. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, mate. That isn't it?
Well, we are going to get an insight on that very shortly, because I'm good friends with Nicky Southall, who's the assistant manager, and Nicky said he's going to come on the show. So I haven't spoken to Nicky now since obviously the decision's been made.
Yeah,
because I think it's best just let things settle a little bit. But I think in a couple of weeks, once he's calmed down, I would love to hear his thoughts, because listen, the whole world of football's a mess. You know what I mean? Where's all this money? Where's this pot of money which was there to help teams out when they couldn't afford to run finish the season? You know what I mean? They're struggling at the bottom of the league, so they're going to get relegated now. Then they're going to start next season with minus 12 in a lesser league. Contracts, you're kicking a man when they're down. I hate that. Listen, it's not just because he's a friend of mine. I've got respect for Andy Hessenthaler as well as a manager. You know what I mean? I've had battles against Andy as a player. lovely fella. You know what I mean? But you can't do that to a football club. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, mate. I don't like it at all. Bit of a shambles going on all across the board, mate, at the moment. Okay, let's go to the home nation games, mate. Let's start with Scotland. This we born in Scotland. They drew with
Yeah.
Austria.
Yeah,
Did you see John McGinn's goal, mate?
Yeah, listen, great result, especially in terms of the way that the game went. 1-0 down, 1-1 straight back from Hanley, 2-1 down straight away, got back to 2-2. You've got to give themselves some real credit. So, for me, I think it's a fantastic result. You know what I mean? I think people will say about not winning home games, but I think you've got to look at the bigger picture. You know, I looked at some of the players in. For Austria, you've got David Alaba for Bayern Munich. You know what I mean? They're no mugs, by the way. You know what I mean? They've got a lot of players who play for Salzburg who are top of the Austrian league. You know what I mean? So they're doing really well. In Scotland, this is probably the best Scottish team you've probably seen since probably Gary McAllister, Ali McCoist, etc. So you know what I mean? It does show how much Scotland have came around. But you know what I mean? They've got an opportunity in this group side. You know what I mean? Denmark won in their group. They've got the Faroes, they've got Israel, who lost, and they've got Moldova as well. So they've got some games which they could sneak second place easily in that group if they can get a decent run together.
Absolutely, mate. John McGinn's goal was a special one.
Yeah, he's very special player though. Very special player.
Yeah, I think we could see him go to a bigger club in the future. I really do. I think he's certainly good enough, and he's at a good age as well. But Scotland doing well over the last couple of years. Really,
they picked up side. Listen, they've had a manager merry-go-round, which obviously some people try until they get it right. They've tried some younger players. They've tried the older players. They've now got a system, and they've now got a bunch of players which is working. And listen, good luck to them, because for me, you know my feelings on it. I'm a big advocate of it. I want all the home nations in the finals. I want England to play Scotland again. There's no better in a Euros, in a World Cup. You know what I mean? In a neutral venue. You know what I mean? There's no better feeling.
Absolutely, mate. Next up, Republic of Ireland. They lost to Serbia 3-2. Mitrovic back in the breaks.
And I don't know if anyone's seen the goals, by the way, but Alexander Mitrovic's first goal. Listen, you want about a player he was lacking confidence. He's chipped the goalkeeper from about 25, 30 yards out. You know what I mean? After taking a touch wide, it's just absolutely fantastic. And you know what I mean? It'll give him confidence going back to Fulham, which might be great for Scott Parker and the Fulham players. But really bad start for Ireland because they had opportunities in the game to and they were drawing for long periods. So you know what I mean? Mitrovic was a game changer coming on.
Yes, indeed, mate. It's Fulham need him at tip-top form, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Hopefully that will not just score the brace, but bag in a special goal. Ireland, very up and down there. I think they in a bit of a transition period, maybe. But we'll see. Northern Ireland, mate, what do they do this week?
They got beat by Italy. 2-0. Listen, it was always going to be a difficult one. I watched the extended highlights yesterday, and listen, it's always going to be hard when you're playing against the likes of Immobile. You know what I mean? He's running round. You know what I mean? Berardi scored a very good opening goal, and yeah, very difficult. You know what I mean? They had some half chances. Gavin White played centre forward, which I was very surprised. Nice for him. You know what I mean? He's obviously playing well for Hull, which is great to get him back in. But
don't get me started on that, mate.
He's one of my favourite Cardiff players. So I was really gutted when he left. But they're going to find it tough to qualify. They've got Switzerland, they've got Italy, Lithuania, Bulgaria. They've got a small group, so they're up against it already after one game. But you know, I mean, sometimes you just want to get off to a winning start against a lesser nation. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's it. Just going quickly back to the Qatar thing. James Costi made a really good point. He said if they did not go ahead with it or they stop the Qatar World Cup, so like all the stadiums are half built and that, he said everyone who's died so far would have died for absolutely nothing. He didn't quite word it like that, which is why I didn't put it on the screen. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you're like in this catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah, bang on.
How about
it's a great point.
How about the world I don't know what you'd call it, the world government, or what is it, the World Council or something, actually hold countries, not just Qatar, but countries around the world accountable for for treating human beings like absolute garbage. Let's try that instead.
Totally agree.
But, is what it is.
Totally
let's move on to the big boys, mates, then. And that is, of course, England in second position. Obviously, we're going up as the nations become more important. So England, well, how did their week go, mate?
They obviously got 3 games this week. They started off with a game against San Marino. I think the thing what surprised me most was Gareth's team selection, which really surprised me. You know what I mean? It's like you put out a second string side. There wasn't probably one player I totally agree. Yeah, you know what I mean. But there was probably only Sterling, which was one of the players I guessed. You know what I mean. But Calvert-Lewin instead of Harry Kane got 2 goals. I thought he was excellent. I thought Jesse Lingard was absolutely superb. England won 5-0. Listen, it is what it is. I don't think they played great. I don't think they played badly. They did what they needed to do. It was a very stubborn display by the visitors. Ollie Watkins came on and scored a very tidy finish. So coming from the Championship to the Premier League and then scoring, so really pleased for him to score in his debut. So hopefully there'll be many more players who can follow that mantle through and do what he's just done. It's a great achievement.
Yeah, spot on. I was really happy for Ollie Watkins' bag goal as well. The San Marino is someone put in the chat just now that Flow Rider is representing San Marino at the Eurovision Song Contest. And to put it in context, Caerphilly has got more population of people than San Marino. So,
my point all along with the World Cup competitions is let's have more places available for the World Cup. But let's have qualifications of ranked teams. So, every game's a really competitive game. And if you qualify out of the group, you've earned it. So you're going to get to the World Cup in good form, because you don't want to see England against San Marino and you don't want to see Gibraltar against Norway. You want to see Gibraltar playing against their own standard of players and their own standard.
Well, wouldn't it be better, mate, if the likes of England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Belgium, Italy, whoever, all them are in one set of groups to qualify, and then you have another set of groups which has got smaller sort of nations, who San Marino playing against Gibraltar and all these different countries who get, historically a bit of a whooping for every group game, and have them qualify. So when you get to the actual World Cup, in each group you get one of those sort of, for lack of a better term, lesser nations in each group, and then you've got the other teams, so they get a chance to qualify be at the actual tournament.
No, not for me.
They got at the group stage.
I thought you were gonna say what I'd like to see is I'd like to see all the big nations in a group of 5, for example. So let's say England, Turkey, Belgium, Holland, and France, for example. The top 3 qualify. If you finish 4th, then you can have a playoff against the winners of Gibraltar, Moldova, San Marino, and Malta. You know what I mean? So if they win their group and you came 4th in a tough group, then you've got a one-off chance to qualify. And if you lose the game, winner takes all.
Yeah, there's loads of ways to do that. In some ways, I just think like San Marino and your Panamas and your Gibraltars and that, like they get a cane in, don't they? But
the thing is also, all you can do with it, you can only beat who you can beat. Listen, all Gareth went on. Yes, it was yesterday, wasn't it? So all he wanted to do yesterday was win a football match, and he won a football match. If he'd have won 1-0 or he won 10-0, it's only worth 3 points. You know what I mean? Yes, he's going to be judged on, but he won 5-0. So people saying it's still 5-0's 5-0. It's not easy winning 5-0. You know what I mean? Especially in international football now. You know what I mean? I go back when John Barnes and Gary Lineker, we used to beat Turkey 9-0. You know what I mean? It never happens anymore. You never see an international team take it. Even Gibraltar don't get beat that many now.
Yeah, they're progressing. So Wales played Belgium. Scored one of the great. They scored one of the great goals, which is a shame. Yeah. Harry Wilson scored a phenomenal goal. It was a great team goal. But I tell you what, since Wales beat Belgium at the Euros in France, Belgium have just been on fire, and they look a completely different team to that kind of. So in the run up to that tournament and at that tournament, they had days or periods of games where they looked special, but they always looked a bit disjointed. Didn't really look like a team, and that was shown in that Welsh game at the tournament. Whereas now they just look like a team of special players, but they look like a team. They look like they care about each other, and I think Roberto Martinez is doing a great job of bringing a lot of individually world-class players together and turn them into.
Do you remember we had Emil Heskey on and we spoke about the golden generation and England not winning? Would you class Belgium in that category now?
Yes, I would. I wouldn't class them as failing yet.
No. I mean the golden generation now.
Oh yeah, they are in a golden generation. Absolutely,
this is their golden generation.
Because even the young players like Thorgan Hazard looks like he could be really good in a couple of years. They got some good young players as well as the players who are currently very good.
You look at the squad side. You know what I mean? That's without Eden Hazard. You know what I mean? You've got Bentekes, your Batshuayis, your Januzaj, your Mignolet. You know what I mean? They've got an unbelievable squad of players. It's for me, they're the best team in the world. You know what I mean? They're the best team in the world at the minute. You know what I mean? So, I think one thing, and this is my own opinion, by the way, one thing that I think Wales are going to struggle in this World Cup qualification is lack of supporters. I think supporters will harm Wales. I think Wales respond from supporters, and I've never seen a nation and a bunch of players respond so much to supporters. The Welsh on the national anthem, and when that roar, I've never known players respond to it and other players crumble in front of other in front of supporters, and I think it might just be an issue with this year going forward. And when the fans are back, I think you'll see a different one, because when that roar goes up and when that national anthem happens, there's no more passionate fans that I've ever seen. And that's been a proud Englishman, by the way. The national anthem for England is not sung with as much pride. The footballers sing it like rugby boys do it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I think the fact that Giggs had been doing a phenomenal job after having a very sticky start.
So whose fault is it now, though?
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? It's got to be affecting the way the team is set up.
It can't be Page. You can't get the blame for this. No way.
No, of course.
No way.
I think this is what I was trying to say the other week. Like, there's got to be a point where they've got to make a decision. And I just, because of COVID, if they keep pushing back the court date, like how long could you leave it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know they're waiting. If he's found guilty, he'll get fired. And if he's not, he'll keep him. But like, if they keep pushing back that court date, like, I just don't understand what they can do. And it's causing a problem. And regardless of whether you think he's guilty or he's not guilty, that's not really the issue for me. Like, I'm concerned about Wales and the football team, and I want to qualify for the World Cup, and this is not helping. So it is what it is.
Bang on, Si. And listen, there's got to be an outcome sooner rather than later. You can't. You know what I mean? Because if he's guilty, then just get it out of the way. You know what I mean? And do something about it, because you're leaving a nation, you're leaving a country, you're leaving their hopes of qualification now hanging in the balance.
Yeah, I still think Wales are more than good enough to finish second. They've got a little bit more depth than they've had in previous years, but they need, Joe Allen getting injured early on is such a big blow, and I feel for him because he's had that serious injury, and it's he's not the young guy anymore.
Leslie's trying to wind me up there.
What does he say? He'd say Wales are better than England. He was just saying then that he's come to terms with the fact that England are rubbish. But someone else said to him, I saw someone put to him that, like, it must be difficult for English fans, because from a young age, all you see in the media is the media build up like the England team as being the greatest thing since sliced bread, then they fail and they get slaughtered. So it's almost like institutionalized it into football fans
Well,
to
yes and no. I'd say
be not
I think
delusional, but like
yes and no. You know what I mean? The first World Cup I can remember. I went for a walk with my dad last weekend, and we had a couple of hours social distance, of course. But we had a good couple of hours of just talking about football and talking about England. We were talking about a bit of everything. And my first memory of England in Mexico '86, Brian Robson breaking his arm. Italian '90, crying behind the sofa at Stuart Pearce and Chris Waddle missing penalties against Germany. And I never really expected. I was just gutted when they lost. And even in Japan, even in France, even in other, you know what I mean? I've never been one who expects, because I know how difficult it can be to win a football match. I know how difficult it is to play against other teams, other
there you
footballers.
go.
And, well, exactly.
James Costi says Portugal beat Azerbaijan at home 1-0. By the way, that's 3 points. Doesn't matter how many they beat them by. It was an own goal which got it. They had 28 shots.
It was shocking as well, by the way.
15 shots on target. The keeper plays in the Azerbaijan league. Played for 3 teams, which you've never heard of, and this was only his 4th game for Azerbaijan. And this is kind of sticks into both points, which like.
Would he get stick? Would their manager get stick because he's won a game of football? If you stick 11 players behind the ball and after 60, 70 minutes you still join. Spain drew with Greece 1-1. Would that have happened if there were supporters there? I believe it wouldn't, because supporters have a massive impact in football, bigger than what we ever imagined. When you're playing away from home, I think it's easier to play, but at home at Wembley, England would have scored miles more goals. Wales at the Millennium Stadium or Cardiff City Stadium or wherever they are going to play, you're going to get a different performance out of players.
Absolutely. Leslie also says England remind him of Celtic and Rangers, where as soon as they play a decent team, they struggle, basically.
Don't be so stupid.
But they do. This is part of the problem, I think, for England in historically, isn't it? Is that they'll sail through the qualifiers with very little trouble, and then the tournament comes and they have tougher games, and they do struggle a little bit. Although the last World Cup they did all right, didn't they? They got to the semi-finals.
Yeah, semi-final, quarter-finals. You know what I mean? Listen, you've got to be a realist, and for me, if you set your target at quarter-final, semi-final, then you're not going to get let down.
No.
If they got knocked out in the group stages, I'd be the first to say we are the worst nation.
I think,
but they never do.
Quarterfinals. If I was an England fan, I'd be happy with quarterfinals. That's acceptable. Semi-finals is
I was ecstatic.
A good tournament.
Ecstatic.
If you get knocked out in the group stage or the first round or the next round,
sacked.
I think that's this. Yeah, you got to go. That's just me. And like for Wales, I think getting out of the group stage is a good tournament because they've played in one national tournament since 1958. Same for Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, any of those teams. I think those smaller home nations, if they can get out the group stage, maybe get past that first knockout round, I think that's a phenomenal achievement and a great tournament. And I think part of Wales' problem when it comes to the next Euros is almost the expectation, because they did so well at the last one and got to that semi-final. And, we could talk about that like historically, and like if Ramsey wasn't out, would they have beaten Portugal because it was such a close game? You don't know. It is what it is. But semi-final was ridiculous. That was like the best summer of my life. But like the expectation is there now from some people. Like, but being realistically, if Wales get out of the group stage, I'll be happy. Just because I think that'll be a good achievement. What you've got to think is when the likes of Bale, Ramsey, Daniel James, when they get injured or they're not available, you're going into Championship and League One players. So they haven't got that depth, which is, there. But we're going to have to move on. We're going to move on to the Championship now. We're not going to go team by team this week, mate, because there was only one set of games. We're going to go game by game. And it was quite the week, mate. Quite the week indeed.
Yeah.
But we'll start on... Was there a Friday game? No.
There was an early Saturday game.
So Brentford Forest to get us going, my friend.
Yeah, Brentford remind me a little bit of Swansea, that they get their usual penalty kick, and when they get a penalty kick, there's the only one outcome. Ivan Toney. I don't know if anybody's watched an Ivan Toney penalty. Ivan Toney reminds me a little bit of Lyle Taylor. He walks up to the penalty spot and I'm thinking, please don't miss. Please don't miss, because if you miss it, you're going to look stupid. And then he puts the keeper the wrong way and he makes me look stupid. And I just think, I would love to have taken a penalty like that and have the audacity to do that, because I would do that and put it straight in the keeper's hands, and then I'd just get abused by everybody. But listen, I look at that Ollie Watkins playing for England yesterday and think, do you know what? Ivan Toney is just as good. You know what I mean? He could easily step up to Premier League international football. He's in stature. He looks confident. He's got an arrogance about him. But one thing that Brentford struggled to do at the weekend side is put away the chances. You know what I mean? They had 21 shots at goal and only scored one. You know what I mean? Forrest hung in there, stuck by, and got an equaliser on the stroke of the hour. And then they really hung on, because Brentford turned the screw towards the end. They brought on 4 substitutes and had shot after shot after shot, but they just couldn't get that second goal. And the way the results went as well, it turned out to be a bad result, because obviously Swansea didn't win, Norwich didn't win, Barnsley, you know what I mean? So that all these teams who dropped points, it could have been a really good week for Brentford.
Yeah, it was.
But a great week for Forest, by the way. A great week for Forest, because that's a wonderful result.
Yes, indeed, mate. But it was a big blow for Brentford, I thought, because that was their chance to make up a bit of ground. Next up was Sheffield Wednesday versus Barnsley. Barnsley finally lost a game of football.
Yeah,
and it was against Sheffield Wednesday of all teams.
Yeah, I know. Listen, people would have lost so much money if people were betting on that game, because everyone thought. And you look at the stats of the game. I thought Barnsley were the better side. They created all the chances before Sheffield Wednesday scored the first goal through Jordan Rhodes, and Jordan got the second goal. Josh Windass, brilliant play to set the goal up, and then they just sat back. And it's a dangerous game to sit back against a side who create so many chances. And Morris got a goal back just before, I think, 10 minutes to go or so. And then they had another couple of chances and time wasting, holding out, and I mean, I think they got a little bit lucky in the end, but I think they probably did deserve the game overall. And it's a huge result for the new manager, Darren Moore from Barnsley. I think he's gonna have a tough run in, but if he can go to Barnsley and get results, it'll give him confidence, because now we haven't got a game for obviously a week, and he's closed the gap to 6 points, but they've got a game in hand. It's going to be an interesting finish of the season for sure.
Yeah, where's Jordan Rhodes been all season? This Jordan, should I say?
Jordan seems to comes in. He works in batches. Jordan, he's like a bus. One comes and then another one comes very quickly. You know what I mean? He doesn't want the international break to come, because he wants the continuation of his goals. Because he did it for Middlesbrough. When he scored next week. He scored the week after. But when he didn't score, he didn't score and didn't score and didn't score. And it's such a confidence player. But
I got to say, Jordan Rhodes, his all-round game. I saw the highlights of this one, and I think his all-round game was excellent as well. He really contributed to Sheffield Wednesday putting on a good performance against the form team of the league. So it's interesting. Next up was Rotherham picking up a surprise win away to Bristol City, mate.
Massive win. And listen, Si, there's a couple of really inconsistent teams in the Championship. QPR being probably the most inconsistent, but Bristol City are a close second. Nigel 1 week gets them flying, gets them winning the game 3-0 at Birmingham. The draw away from home at Blackburn. And then they play the home game, expecting to go in and have a solid performance, and they let themselves down massively. And listen, Rotherham is scrapping for their lives, absolutely scrapping. With games in hand, they want points on the board, but this will give them belief that they can get out of it. And if they can copy and emulate these kind of performances, they will get out of it.
Yeah, spot on, mate. I thought Michael Smith for Rotherham was outstanding, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit later. But yeah, I just thought he was fantastic. Scored a really good header as well. And then we had a 0-0 draw between the two teams towards the bottom, Coventry and Wycombe.
Yeah, I was quite surprised it was 0-0. I was probably expecting a 3-3 or a 4-4, because both defences have been quite poor recently. I think it's probably a better point for Coventry. You know what I mean? Keeping the clean sheet will give them a little bit of confidence. You know what I mean? On the back of a defeat against Luton Town. But I think they'll want to win the game. But sometimes you can't afford to lose a game. It's about churning enough points to stay in this division, and if that could be the point which keeps Coventry City in the Championship come May.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I was very surprised, like you said, that they drew 0-0. I believe you told me it was going to be 4-4. I'd have believed that over a 0-0, I think. But and next up, we had the mighty Middlesbrough. Picked up a loss against Millwall.
I'm gonna start with on a bit of a defensive. That I've not been negative on here and say that Middlesbrough I'm going to get in the playoffs to be negative. I come on here and state my opinion to say that Middlesbrough won't get in the playoffs because I just don't think they're good enough, and that the season they had last season, this season's been a phenomenal season, probably the best season we've had in about 5-6 seasons. So to finish 10th for me would be amazing, or to finish 7th, 8th, 9th, I think it'll be a fantastic season, and all credit to the players. But they haven't got the squad at the minute. You know what I mean? They're going to get better next year. Next season, I expect playoffs at the minimum. I expect playoffs all day long. But when you go to Millwall, you make so many changes. You got players who haven't played for a little bit, and I thought our friend of the show, Jed Wallace, I thought was absolutely fantastic. He ran, especially for the goal. He put the ball in for Hall's own goal, and he ran Middlesbrough into the ground. But one player who massively, I thought he was the best player on the pitch by a country mile, and it was a player called Billy Mitchell. And I watched the game live, and all I heard was Billy Mitchell this, Billy Mitchell. I thought I was watching EastEnders for a while. He plays centre midfield. I think he's only 19-year-old. He was absolutely phenomenal. He won every battle against some experienced midfielders in Middlesbrough. Obviously the Paddy McNairs, the Johnny Howsons, the Savills when he came on. He was absolutely brilliant. He was just breaking things up, winning tackles. Really impressed me.
Yeah, Rob Boyle just asked if Warnock's going to be there next year. He signed a new contract.
He signed a new deal, yeah. So he will definitely be there next year.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I don't think Millwall away is the game to make a load of changes. I've got to be honest.
No,
but there we go. Norwich won, Blackburn won.
Yeah, the run came to an end. I think the first time they haven't won in about 11, which is phenomenal. Still undefeated, by the way, but they took the lead, and when they took the lead, I fully expected them just to win 1-0, and which is obviously disappointing. Ben Gibson came off with a bad injury, which has finished his season. Will it have an impact? Hopefully not. Obviously, best wishes to Ben from us all, by the way, because Ben's a friend of mine, and really disappointed this season's going to be ended because obviously nobody likes that. But hopefully the players can go and finish the job and go and get Ben a championship medal. They obviously took the lead through McLean, and then Sam Gallagher equalised with just over 12 to 15 minutes to go. So I think it was probably kept Tony in a job for another week or another 2 weeks, which obviously I'm pleased with because obviously Tony's a friend of mine as well, the manager. But I think Norwich will be a little bit disappointed that they didn't hold out.
Indeed. It's one of those, and I just think Blackburn are capable. It's just whether they can get it. Rob Lay says, Andy, you look more debonair than your brother.
Thanks.
Debonair. Wow.
Good word.
Indeed. Preston 0, Luton Town 1. Luton, just what a season they're having.
Yeah, they are. And then you can look at the opposite side and look how poor Preston are. You know what I mean? Obviously, Preston up
and down, mate, didn't they?
You know what I mean? They lost a manager as well. So it's Alex Neil lost his job. So am I surprised with losing another game against a lesser side? But Luton, it's no disgrace losing to Luton. Luton have had such a fantastic season. You know what I mean? They're in 13th place, but they've only scored 31 goals. It's one of the lowest in the Championship, but they just don't let goals in as well. And it was an own goal what finished the game. I think it was Everson who scored the winning goal. Obviously, a Preston defender. So, but Luton, I've got to be over the moon with the way the season's panned out so far.
Yeah, I've just been really impressed with them and their organisation, their skill, their commitment, and but also it's the quality. There's no lack of quality there. Like, it's not just a team who's set up to defend and pinch a goal. Like, they have been very good. They've played good football. They've been entertaining to watch. And I'm really, really happy for Luton because it's a proper football club. And I'm happy that they are in no danger really of going down. Reading won, QPR won.
Like I said, it must be so strange being a QPR fan. You know, I mean, they're on a really done a really decent run, but they're going to Reading. You probably thought 100% defeat, and even when they went ahead, I still expected Reading to come back like they did. Me to equalise just on the hour or just before, and then they just tried to batter the door down. Couldn't get the winning goal, and I think they'll be really disappointed, because especially with the way that the fixtures and the results went side above them. You know what I mean? Obviously, Barnsley lost. We just spoke about Brentford, they're drawing. Norwich, we just spoke about drawing. You know what I mean? So it's points dropped, especially with Bournemouth not playing as well, and then obviously Cardiff playing later on. So, and the Middlesbrough losing as well. So there's not many people in the top 10 had a positive weekend.
Yeah, no, there is not indeed. QPR is still just impossible to predict what team is going to turn up. Another one who's difficult, or another two really, who are difficult to predict who's going to turn up, or what type of side is going to turn up, is Stoke City and Derby County. Stoke picked up the win. Great goal from Jacob Brown, though.
Yeah, Jacob Brown, brilliant. Yeah, really impressed me last year when he was playing for Barnsley. So I'm no surprise that he's doing it at a bigger club. Wayne Rooney's really struggling, I think. So 7 games.
I think he wants that season to finish, doesn't he?
Yeah, desperate,
so
absolutely desperate. But then he's got to keep them up, though. You know what I mean? They're not out of it yet. You know what I mean? If they lose a few more games, they've got 8 games left. You know what I mean? It's going to be still a big ask for them to stay up, because they're falling like a stone, and they're probably got the worst form record at the minute. So Rotherham won, Sheffield Wednesday won, Coventry drew. So you know what I mean? There's only Birmingham at the minute who look like they're falling like a stone, and they ain't going to get out of it.
Yeah.
But on Stoke as well, Si. Have they left it too late to get in the playoffs? I believe so. I don't believe that. I believe the teams ahead them are too good to. You know what I mean? The teams in the playoffs, and the Cardiffs, the Bournemouths, even the Middlesbrough. You know what I mean? Probably deserve to be ahead of them.
Yeah. Those teams are all not just in good form, but they've been good all season. Like, they've been consistent. Cardiff obviously have only been good since McCarthy took over, but the others have been generally quite consistent. So I do think it'll be difficult. However, they also have a squad of players who could turn it on and win every game from now till the rest of the season. Rob, no, there's no Super Kev this week either. Obviously, Kev was ill last week, rather. So he's still recovering, but we hopefully be back next Friday. Next up was Watford 3, Birmingham City 0.
Yeah, obviously Birmingham got a great result last week on Lee Boyer's first game. Obviously came back to down to earth with a bang against a very good side. Sema give Watford the lead after 4 minutes. I thought Shalabah was absolutely brilliant. And then when you can bring Andre Gray on for the last 10 minutes, that shows how good your squad is. So he got the 3rd goal on the hour after coming on. I think he came on about 5 seconds before his goal. So it just shows how formidable their squad is. They've got. I looked at the bench side when I watched highlights of the game. They've got Craig Cathcart, ex-Man United, Ben Foster, England goalkeeper, Andre Gray. You know what I mean? These kind of players. You know what I mean? They're Premier League standard players.
Yes,
you know what I mean? That's
are.
without Troy Deeney, Tom Cleverley. You know what I mean? Sarr, who's played most of the season. You know what I mean? I thought Watford were selling the players. You know what I mean? They've kept the nucleus. That's why they're coming really strong now towards the end of the season. Have they left it too late to catch Watford? To catch Norwich? I don't think they'll care as long as they go up automatically.
Yeah, I got to say I was very disappointed with the way Birmingham City defended. I thought they were very unorganised, and I think they're another one who was just waiting for the season to finish as quick as possible, because they need to perhaps reset and stuff. Watford are excellent though, really, really good. And I just, if I said to you, right, when you're picking your team of the year, you could only pick Chalobah or Cleverley in your team of the year, how would you separate them?
Oh, I don't think you can, because
for me, they've been the best 2 central midfielders in the league.
Yeah, they've done really well, and then you've got Campbell at Norwich as well. So if you can only pick 2 out of those 3, that's impossible.
It's difficult, no?
Impossible, yeah. And then you've got other players as well.
You can't separate them, can you?
No, then you've got other players as well who probably have got a shout to be.
Yeah.
In as well. That's hard work.
Can't wait to pick our team of the year, mate, at the end of the year.
Oh, so I need at least a week.
Yeah, that's all our games. Nothing more to talk about then, mate, is there?
No, nothing. No, apart from South Wales is blue.
Yes, indeed. South Wales derby, Swansea City 0, Cardiff City 1. Aidan Flint scored, and yeah, what a performance! And I said to my father-in-law on Saturday, the day after, I said all I wanted from Cardiff against Swansea was I wanted the players to show that they actually gave two hoots, because there's been the last couple of years they really haven't, and they've looked not good. And they did defensively. I thought they were phenomenal. All of them. Like, I thought Sean Morrison was excellent. Aidan Flint was excellent. The younger defenders, but I thought Sang was out of this world good. I thought he was so good. And I just thought Cardiff outfought Swansea. Did Swansea come in maybe with a bit of arrogance, maybe thinking that they were going to, because the first game was so easy for them? Did they come in with a bit of arrogance, thinking that they were going to just walk it? Who knows? But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was stressful, but I enjoyed it. What did you make of the game, mate?
There was a couple of things that I noticed, obviously, before the game. Jamal Lowe, I thought it was a very strange one that he didn't play for Swansea. I thought that was a strange one to put the pressure on a young player's shoulders, to stick a young player ahead of him after the game that he had in the first game, and to say he was tired going into a derby. I don't buy that. I don't like it. I don't like that kind of comment. I thought Mick McCarthy's masterstroke of putting Joe Rawls at left wing back against Connor Roberts was absolutely out of this world. Because you know what? Joe's an excellent midfielder. Absolutely fantastic. And one thing Joe will give you is a man-marking job better than anybody I've ever seen. And Joe man-marked Roberts out of the game. And he knew how much of an asset he is going forward. He never got past him, or very rarely. I think he did once, and he brought him down, took a yellow card, which is absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? He knows the game. He knows exactly what he's doing. On the ball, he showed quality going forward. He was fit. He was hungry. He got stuck in. I thought Cardiff just showed pure grit and determination from minute 1 all the way through to minute 90. And listen, you deserved a bit of luck. Swansea hit the post with 10 minutes to go off the corner through Ayew, but you weren't that. You know what I mean? Because how Cardiff City weren't 2 ahead at half time, and Kiefer Moore, when he took it on the goalkeeper and thought he had an empty goal to kick it into, and the defender was already there. You know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? They're the fine moments, the fine margins. If that goal had went in, Cardiff could have gone 4-5 easily. You know, because they were playing that well, they were that dominant. I thought Aiden's goal was brilliant. Put his head in where a lot of players wouldn't put their feet.
Yeah.
And this is a boy, by the way. Boy, he's a man. This is a boy who's taken some stick from Cardiff City fans. Yeah. And probably rightly so. He's made mistakes.
He's out on loan at the start of the season, mate. He wasn't wanted by Neil Harris.
Yeah, to Sheffield Wednesday. But listen, I saw a lot of him at Middlesbrough. I saw a lot of him at Bristol City, and I knew how much of an asset he is in both boxes. And now he's starting to show under a manager who defies and loves set pieces. Aidan will score goals for fun, and he will be a huge asset, like he was at Bristol City. He used to score all the goals. He used to be one of the top goal scorers, and if he can relay that for Cardiff for the rest of the season, then he could do that at Wembley in the playoff final.
Yeah, I think that might derail Swansea's automatic promotion hopes, because I think it's going to hurt. I've been a big advocate of Steve Cooper this year. I think he's done a phenomenal job at Swansea, and I think he's a very good coach. I think tactically he's very, very good. But I didn't like some of the stuff he said after. He said, like, we've played some brilliant football. We've created lots of chances. He said, we've dominated every stat you want to dominate. And I was just like, yeah, but stats, they don't matter. What matters is if you win the football match or not. And that's what bugs me. It's right up there with Woodgate's thing from last year.
I watched two games in the last month. I watched Stoke City against Middlesbrough at the Riverside. Stoke City had 72% of the possession of the game. Stoke City lost the game 3-0. They didn't have any shots. They were absolutely useless. And the manager said, I've never seen us keep the ball so well in the game. Possession doesn't win you games. Swansea had 75% of the possession, but they didn't do anything with it. They were passing it along the back. They were passing it to the goalkeeper. They were passing it to the full-backs. They were getting it back. the centre forwards had one or two shots on target, but that was from a free kick. That was from a set piece. You know what I mean? And I think too many people, especially managers, are too. They look too many times on stats, and they look at shots on goal. Well, shots on goal only count if they hit the target, surely, because we could have 100 shots. It doesn't matter unless they hit the target.
Yeah, that photograph of Sean Morrison's heel after the game, and he put his body on the line. Like that is, they put their bodies on the line, all of them.
Yeah, that was a blister inside a blister. It was horrific.
Yeah. And I think Mick McCarthy got his tactics right. Steve Cooper probably got them wrong, maybe. Like you said, a couple of selections and stuff maybe could have been different. I just felt like, particularly in that first 20 minutes, I felt like Swansea just thought they were going to be able to come play their football and win comfortably. And it was going to be a relatively simple game. And they obviously conceded a goal early, which changes the whole sort of outlook of the game, doesn't it? Because you're always chasing it. But so we'll finish off now with the ups and downs and some questions for approximately 10 minutes. So let's go with the downs first, mate. What you got?
I'm going to go with Grant Hall for Middlesbrough for his own goal against Millwall. I don't think it was. I don't think it's probably a bit harsh, but I just think that if he gets a call from somebody behind him, it could have been avoided. So maybe he was the one who got the own goal. So it's more of a communication issue for me.
Yeah, with Boro, I was looking at that, and I went with the changes that they made. I felt like that cost them, and I just felt like it was the wrong game to make those changes. Yeah. Like if it was Wycombe at home, or with no disrespect to Wycombe, or even Coventry at home, I just felt like Millwall away is not that game to rotate, and I felt like it did just cost them a bit because they were a bit disjointed and a bit. They didn't have the same level of organisation that they've had for the majority of the season. Donna says her ups, Cardiff City winning. Obviously, if people should drop in their ups and downs for the week, what's your second down, mate?
My second down is Wayne Rooney, and just the way that the club is
going down,
tilting on the edge. Yeah, if he's not careful, he's got 8 games to save his probably managerial season and his managerial life. Because if he doesn't save this after what Frank did 2 years ago, then it's going to be a difficult one for him to probably get over as a manager, I think.
Yeah, like for me, I want Derby to stay up for one reason. Is I've been saying all season, I want young managers to be given a chance, and I believe that if Wayne Rooney gets sacked from Derby and they go down, for instance, and he gets sacked, that he might go the same way that Gary Neville went and say, do you know what, this is not for me. I don't want to do
Doesn't
this.
need the hassle.
I'm going to just do media, and we need these young guys to go ahead and be managers. So. Yeah, I want Derby to stay up, I've got to be honest. My second down is Birmingham City. Dreadful defending, disappointing, and completely unorganised. It was schoolboy at certain times against Watford. Embarrassing, mate, at this level. Donna Perry also says Alex Neil going as a down.
Rob Boyle's just said something really interesting. Interesting.
Wayne Rooney to Salford next year. Maybe. But he could also be on BT Sport or Sky Sports as well.
Yeah.
I guess it's so. Reese says, he says Mel Morris pulled out of the sale for Derby County now because it's taken so long for the potential buyers to show that they have the money, which is not what Derby want.
Interesting.
It's difficult. James Costley says he thinks Birmingham will get relegated. I'll come to those questions in just a second. Who's your first up, mate?
My first up is, I've just spoke about in there, Joe Rawls. I thought his performance at Cardiff City, and I know Morrison got man of the match, but I thought Joe was fantastic, along with quite a lot of players, but playing out of position as well, and in a position that he doesn't probably like or want to play, but I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah,
I went for Aidan Flint and the Cardiff City defence. I just thought it was heroic. Body on the line, blocking everything. Just great stuff. good to see in a derby
totally
as well.
agree.
But good to
amazing.
see anyway, mate.
Yeah,
It
amazing.
just shows
But
that they
you want that all.
fighting
You want
for
that
each
all the
other,
time.
for the
You want that
manager.
all the
Yes.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to see that every game, not just in a derby. But there we go. Second up.
My second up, I've spoke about him earlier on the show as well. I'm going to go Billy Mitchell for Millwall against Middlesbrough. I thought his performance was just he covered every inch blade of grass. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal, and we could have a star in the making if he continues his progression. 19 years old centre midfielder, really impressed me.
Good shout. I gone with Michael Smith of Rotherham. He scored a goal, the first goal I think it was, but it was just he wanted that header more than the centre back or the defender, and it was just pure determination and commitment. And that first goal got them going, got them that goal to hold on to, and they went ahead and scored another. I just thought that Rotherham were very good. I thought he was the catalyst up front, closing down and doing everything.
Great shout.
Whether I just see there, I've got Craig Sullivan, Tom Sang as a midfielder as well. So he's doing particularly well at fullback. I thought Tom Sang was out of this world good.
Yeah, he was.
And I think the only reason I sort of went with Aidan Flint is because he got the goal, and I kind of went for the Cardiff defence as a whole. Whereas if I had to pick one player from that game and say he's my guy, like my man of the match, I would have gone with Sang. Like I thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah,
we had a super chat earlier, which I'm just trying to find. Oh, where's it gone? Right, while I do that, mate, Reese asked a question to you. He said, Andy, question. Why do they say players reach a prime at certain ages? They say midfielders around 27, keepers in their 30s. Why are different positions different for prime ages? I think that's because of mentality, but I'm sure you'll be able to answer it better than me.
Yeah, no, listen. Yeah, I think it is because I don't like it, because I think it puts you under pressure to perform. You know what I mean? Because when you talk about prime, that's got to be when you're playing the best of your football. But you know what I mean? And I'll probably use my pace as an example. The fastest I was probably about 18 years old. So my pace was in its prime at 18 because when I got older, I got a little bit slower. Not slow, but because I was always still really quick. But you know what I mean? It's like for when you played 100 games or 200 games, you get more confident on the ball. You're a little bit more comfortable. You don't worry about certain things. So I think that's what the mean, and goalkeepers have. You know what I mean? The comfort crosses where you used to stay on the line, and you know what I mean. I think sometimes it's just a myth. You know what I mean? Because for me, it's. I look at Wayne Rooney, for example, when he came through Everton. You know what I mean? When was Wayne Rooney's? You know what I mean? Because Wayne Rooney for me was consistent from when the day he broke into the Premier League at 16 till the day he retired. It was just. Some Messi, Ronaldo. Is Ronaldo in his pomp now? He's not, is he? He's been at Man United. He's been at Real Madrid. He's done it. You know what I mean? So for me, sometimes it's just to say it about someone who's just playing well at the time.
I think keepers is slightly different. I like this from Rob Boyle says NG is half the player Sang is, which I just think is tremendous wordplay.
I like
Bravo.
That. I like that. Good that.
So the super
Good
chat
work.
was from
Good work.
Gaz says, should Man United recall Jessica Lingard for the end of the season running?
He's playing amazingly well, but he's playing amazingly well because someone believes in him. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't believe in him, so you know what I mean? What's the point of him going back to Man United and sitting on the bench or being rotated? At the minute he's playing week in, week out, minute in, minute out for West Ham, so let the boy enjoy his football, let him play.
Yeah, 100%. Do you ever see him being able to be like a first team player at United who plays week in, week out, or do you think that ship sailed?
Yeah, not now. I think
even with a change of manager.
It depends, Si, because I think United probably need to get rid of Pogba and need to invest in that area. So if you're going to invest in that area, you're going to bring somebody in, and if you bring somebody in, they're going to play alongside a Fernandes or a City player. So that's going to take his place again. So if he's happy playing some games and rotation, then go back. But Jesse seems at the minute that he's happy playing week in, week out.
Yeah, I think the reason why I don't think he'll end up going back to United and being that player is because he's not what they need. Like they need a right winger, they need a striker, they probably need a central defender, but they don't need like that number 10 sort of role. And like you say, if Pogba does go, they'll bring someone in to replace him, you would think.
Yeah. I totally agree. Cade
I can understand
asked a
why.
question. Cade's asked a question. One what I'd like to answer, because this player really, not many people know about it. But he asked a little question into the show. Andy, when you were at Boro, did you come across a player called Ronnie O'Brien? What I'd like people to do is Google Ronnie O'Brien, because Ronnie was a lovely lad. I thought he was a really good player, really unlucky at Middlesbrough. Ronnie rang me one day on the phone and said I've just signed for Juventus. I'm having a barbecue. I'm with Alessandro Del Piero and I'm with Edgar Davids, and it just blew me away that he wasn't good enough in someone's opinion to go and play for Middlesbrough. But then he goes and signs for a team who's just won the Champions League that year. I think now he's a professional golfer, I think, in the States. So he's had an unbelievable life. You know what I mean? I've never. If you could write a story in the book, Ronnie's story in life would be that story, because to come over from Ireland to sign for Middlesbrough, to never really get an opportunity, but probably be the best player in that age group, technically very good, physically strong, but never get that opportunity. Probably I don't know if it's arrogance. I don't know if it's you know what I mean. Well, managers didn't really fancy him, but then all of a sudden he goes and signs for Juventus. I'll never forget that phone call. You know what I mean. I remember where I was and everything. And he just said, "Oh, I'm just next to Edgar Davids. Do you want to speak to him?" And I'm like, "No, you're okay." And I was just gobsmacked. I was like, here's me in Middlesbrough at the time and just enjoying the rain, and he's in Turin in somebody's house. It was just an unbelievable. I'll try and get hold of Ronnie, because I've got a couple of
Ronnie O'Brien from My Story.
I'll try and get hold of Ronnie.
Send him to me.
I'll try and get hold of
Send
Ronnie.
him. God, I tell you what, by the way, Andy. Obviously, I can't.
Just call me Danny. It's all right, I'm not
obviously, I can't mention some of the names yet, but as you know, some of the episodes of My Story coming up
phenomenal.
Are ridiculous.
Yeah, class.
It's going to be an interesting one. But Monday, we've got the legend that is David Giles joining us. But before I talk about that, I just want to address something very quickly. So when we were just answering Gaz's question about Justin Lingard, and we said about Man United, could he go back there, blah, blah, blah. Gavin said Manchester United need at least 5 players. So I said, league table doesn't lie. And he said, injuries do though. Right, let me put something to bed very, very quickly. You cannot use injuries as an excuse for a bad season. Doesn't matter who you are, what team you are, because everybody gets them. There was a period when Mourinho was in charge for United where they had like 10 first team players out, like actual first team choices out. Everybody gets them. So anyone who uses injuries as an excuse for and you have the opportunity to sign players in January at the start of the season, I don't accept that as an excuse, because everyone's got to deal with injuries. And if you haven't got if you're so reliant on certain players that them being injured ruins your whole season, then I don't know what to say to you other than you'll never win. But anyway,
I think you should. Leon Jeans. Yeah. Listen, I'm still working on Leon. I've just read that there. I wonder if that's true. I'll find that out.
David Giles Monday.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Really excited. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to digging deep and having a good conversation with somebody, especially after what happened with Cardiff, Swansea as well. I think he's got a good insight in both clubs. Obviously Wales as well. What's going on with Ryan Giggs? He's got great insight with that, and just digging deep in his own career as well. I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Indeed, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait. I've set Gavin off now, which of course was the aim. He's not happy. Yeah. But there we go. We're finishing the show now. So what can we do? But Sunday, I'm dropping My Story episode 3, I think it is. You can check out the previous 2 episodes with author and ex-football hooligan Gary Boatsy Clark. Excellent show, full of really interesting stories. And then we had Jess Bent, football agent, with Black Diamond Sport last week, which was really good, and I had a lot of good feedback to that. This Sunday, we have a friend of the channel, friend of the show, award-winning journalist, best-selling author Harry Harris, and boy, oh boy, does he have some stories. And like I mentioned, that one about the UEFA official, that's in there as well. And he talks about interviewing Maradona for an hour in a car while Aussie art dealers was his translator, is just one of many stories. But really, really interesting stuff. We fitted in as much as we could into an hour. But yes, that's out Sunday, 8 o'clock, youtube.com/AcePodcastNation. Subscribe. But Andy, as always, a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Obviously, no football really. I think the international games, but I'm not really sure that'll be as interesting. But stay safe, everyone, and I will see you Monday.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. Thank you, everyone who's watched and commented and sent questions and all that good stuff. Spread the word. Check out the show Sunday, and we'll be back Monday with David Giles. Tell your friends.
My mummy and daddy have been talking about life insurance. It sounds like something to protect my brother and me, but I don't really understand. Then my Auntie Louise told mummy about Bespoke Financial Teesside. She said they're a local company who helped her with her life insurance. Mummy got in touch, and because they're based locally, a man called Darren was able to come to our house. He was really friendly. Darren stayed for a cup of tea and made it all really easy to understand. He said that life insurance will protect our home and family if anything bad were to happen. Like if mummy or daddy got sick, then we'd get enough money to take care of us, and our house would be paid for so it wouldn't get taken away. After an hour, Darren said goodbye and mummy and daddy seemed a lot happier. Once it was all sorted, we could all relax and watch a film together as a family. I don't know why they didn't do it sooner.
I belong to you.
I belong to you.
Do just what you want.